Hi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new Football Talks. This time I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, hey! Oh man.
What's going on, Bill? It was your birthday yesterday during the
Yeah.
championship games. Happy birthday, Bill.
Oh, thank you. And I was treated to at least one good game.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that later, but we do have some coaching news. The Titans have a new head coach, and it's who you thought it was, Mike Vrabel. He's the new head coach for the Titans, a defensive style coach. I'm not sure what to expect from them. I mean, I thought he was an okay defensive coordinator. My problem with him is I felt the secondary really downgraded itself in favor of a pass rush, but their defense should get a little better come next year.
Right.
I don't know about the offense because I don't think they have the coordinator set, but no more exotic smash mouth, it seems. That's over.
Yeah, I think that's over as well. Uh, the the Tennessee Titans. I don't know. It's an all right hire. They could have went with a few different routes, and again, you have Marcus Mariota. What the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, but Bill, this means that now Romeo Crennel is now the defensive coordinator again for the Texans. I'm not mad at all because it's fine. We got the other guy who I thought was better at it, which is good. It's
Yeah.
good that it's not often that you can fall back on a good defensive coordinator like this. Most of the time, someone like Crennel would have gone off to be a head coach, but I don't think he wants to be a head coach again anytime soon.
No, I mean, after you've been a head coach of the Cleveland Browns, I mean, it sort of sours your opinion of going anywhere.
Yep, and then another head coaching job has been opened or been taken for Arizona. Steve Wilkes from the Carolina Panthers, or defensive side, he was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers, and now he is the head coach for the Cardinals. Which the Cardinals are still have more soul searching to do because now a quarterback is a clear need, but with an 8-8 record, it's not likely a good quarterback's going to fall to your lap.
Right. I mean, you never know. One of the top four quarterbacks might drop, but I mean, the the odds of that happening are not
And
high,
you may still have to
not
trade
high
up
at
to
all.
prevent someone else from taking them.
Very possible. Very possible.
But
You
anyway,
know.
I there's also another thing, free agency. My hope is that Kirk Cousins goes to the Cardinals. I think that would be fun. I would love to see him throw the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. I think they could make one last push with him on the roster, and assuming the roster stays healthy, they've got a shot. I don't think it's the
Right.
best shot, but it's still a shot nonetheless.
I mean, and you'll have also David Johnson coming back after, tearing his ACL. So, I
Yep, and you
mean,
got Chandler Jones, who has become a star, underrated star. Bill, that guy I think has the most sacks, and yet I hear nobody chant out his name in greatness, which is a such a shame because
yep.
I think people just keep talking about Demarcus Lawrence more, Jalen Ramsey more, which those guys have earned it too. But give Chandler Jones some credit. The dude, I think he has the most amount of sacks this season. How do you ignore that stat? That's like ignoring how many touchdowns a wide receiver's got.
I mean, it's just the market. Arizona is a small market team, and so they'll ignore the small market team for the big market, America's team or the New York Giants, etc., etc.
Yeah, and the Jaguars are a small market, or in this case was, but I'm hoping for a down year from them. But we'll see. We'll
Right.
get to them later. But anyway, Bill, no new news for the Colts and the Lions. They've still got to wait
Yep.
a couple weeks. They got to wait till February to get their potential head coaches. But
One
for now,
one
Bill, let's go into the games.
One caveat before that, though, the Lions and Colts can meet with Patricia and McCoy this week, and it's likely that what they're going to do is and discuss is who to hire for assistant coaches.
Yep, but they can't sign it or make it official yet.
Right.
Not yet. But Bill, let's go into the
Well,
games.
assistant coaches, yes.
We've got what I hoped was a better one. No, it was a slaughter. But if you don't know the score already, you would think, oh, did the Vikings just thrash the Eagles? That's not surprising at all. No, it's the other way around. The Eagles took the Vikings to town. It's like the Vikings, they used to be an outdoor team, and now that they're an indoor team, they can't handle the cold.
Yep.
Come on,
I mean,
guys. I can't trust, you can't trust them now, and that was unfortunate. Like, here's the thing, Bill. You went from the Minneapolis Miracle last week, which is what it's been dubbed, that moment, to now the Minneapolis Slaughter. The Vikings just got their eyes pecked out by the Eagles, and I don't know, their helmets stolen and taken somewhere else. I don't know. The Vikings were astray for some reason. I don't even know what caused it. This was a whole team meltdown. I know some people want to blame Case Keenum because he's Case Keenum, but I thought it was just that in general the whole team collapsed. Zach Ertz owned a all-pro first round safety. I think it's Harrison Smith. He owned him in one route that led them to field goal range. How embarrassing.
I mean, the other issue with the Minnesota Vikings, and I really put my focus on this, is you had such an emotional high after you were down to your last, basically, to borrow a baseball term, you were down to your last out, your last strike, and you hit a walk-off home run. That's an emotional high, and I mean, and then the next game you go into there and have 5 strikeouts. That's the serve game that they had this week. They just went into this game and struck out. They were getting beat on every phase of the game, all game long, minus the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, this isn't, unfortunately for them, this isn't like baseball where you have 7 games to try and win it. This was one game. You have 1 week of a bad game, and that's it. You're done. There is no coming back, no turning back. That's the end of that, and have fun next year.
Right. And overall, the issue wasn't Case Keenum. Sure, he made a bad decision and it led to points, but overall, the offense looked stagnant. They couldn't move the football anywhere on the field. The defense couldn't stop anybody from moving down the field. They were making Nick Foles look like Joe Montana on the field in that game. And it's like they mentally checked out after that win.
Yep, I give credit to the Eagles because they were acting like they were underdogs all year. The minute they started going on that impressive win streak at the beginning of the year, everyone's like, this is the team. This is the team that'll win the Super Bowl. If they had Carson Wentz, I would have actually picked them to be the NFC representative for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But
I think so too myself.
Yep. But they did it anyway. They still did it. I give them credit for that. They faced a lot of injuries, not just with Carson Wentz, but now they are still the underdogs once again. But to be honest, I don't think I would root for the Eagles anyway, because the fan base, if you've been around long enough, any type of sport really, you might have heard of how Philadelphia fans in general are just assholes. It's honestly, I don't know why people give Boston a lot of shit, and I mean they deserve it too. But I'm like, if we're gonna talk about worst cities for sports, how do you not bring up Philly? After they won this game, they were giving they were just giving the Vikings fans a lot of shit that showed up, and I mean I joked on the Vikings fans too for some transparency, but one of the things they did, throwing beer bottles and cans at the Vikings bus as they're trying to leave the stadium. How very classy. So there was that. Which, Bill, what are your thoughts on that? Throwing stuff at Vikings.
Never, 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 ever is that an okay thing. Ever, 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 for never, ever. It's never a good thing. And to be fair, every single person that threw a bottle at the bus and whoever, threw bottles at the bus, should be, you know, arrested for vandalism. That's basically what it is. You know, it's getting to a point where you're not even able to wear the opposing team's colors in a different stadium, like the San Francisco Giants and Dodgers. A Giants fan, I think, went to Dodger Stadium and got his ass kicked so bad that he had brain injuries about 4 or 5 years ago. So that's the sort of stuff that this sort of behavior right there sort of harkens back to in my head is never a good thing. Enjoy the game, Philadelphia fans. Enjoy it. Enjoy that you beat the Minnesota Vikings. Just enjoy the moment. Don't take it out on hardworking people that came to your city and are going to leave your city with a negative taste in their mouth. Treat them with hospitality and they'll come back. And, a lot of people from Minnesota would love to come back to Philadelphia and vice versa.
Kick their asses and get some revenge. That's why. But anyway, Bill. The only last thing I want to mention about this game really was, okay, this one is even worse. You had a guy. I'm not going to show the video. I may link it, but I did retweet it or tweet over it. There is this Eagles fan. For a second, I thought it was a player because he looked like he could be a player, but and it wasn't. And basically, he was just saying out loud to the camera that he's gonna fuck Tom Brady's wife, calls him an N-word, and yeah, he just keeps chanting that. Like, you're gonna beat the Patriots' asses and all that. And I'm like, Bill, I have to ask you again, what's the one thing you never want to tell the Patriots, or especially Tom Brady?
You just don't give them any ammunition to beat you. And that they can use that as ammunition to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles fans, I know if I was a Lions fan and Lions fans were going crazy and going after New England Patriots Tom Brady and being like, the Lions are going to beat the shit out of Tom Brady, etc., etc., I would have cause for alarm. Do not give this man any reason to have a chip on his shoulder. This man already won 5 Super Bowls with a chip on his shoulder. Don't give him a reason to beat you. Just look forward to the game, enjoy the game, and when the Patriots are getting beat in the Super Bowl, and this is not me saying that they're going to get beaten in the Super Bowl because God knows. But if they get beaten in the Super Bowl, then gloat and have fun with it.
But Bill, I'm just like, I made some takeaways from that video, but if you haven't seen it, I'll just say, first off, his video, he said that he's gonna beat they're gonna beat the Patriots next week. First off, that's in 2 weeks. Next week's the Pro Bowl. Second, that's like what we've been talking about. As you said, Bill, never give the Patriots something to have a chip on their shoulder about. Don't make the same mistake the Jaguars have made. Don't make the same mistake the Steelers have made.
Yes.
And third, this is the important one, Bill. If they fuck this up, if the Eagles lose to the Patriots in the Super Bowl again, that type of trash talk is the kind you would hang up on your wall as a Patriots fan and show, yeah, remember that time this one guy was saying he's going to fuck Tom Brady's wife? Yeah, that was fun. I wonder where he is now.
That sort of stuff has no place in the fandom. and most Eagles fans are not like that, and
I mean, Bill,
that's a good
the
thing.
funny thing is, I haven't even mentioned the most infamous Eagles fan, if not sports fan, in all of Philly and possibly the NFL or all of sports. We can go as far as you want with this guy. We haven't even talked about Eat That Pussy 445, and no, I'm not making that name up. That's his real name. Go look him up if you want, or if you want a better example of how bad Philly fans can be. Just go look up Urinating Trees video about the Philadelphia Eagles football the NFL's exercise in agony. It's a good video. It's like 6-7 minutes. It feels like I'm watching a funny documentary, and to be honest, it kind of is. Either way, we'll see if the Eagles can actually put up, or they're just going to shut up again and continue being the butt of the NFL's jokes. Because for a team that talks a lot of shit, haven't won anything to back it up.
Right.
But anyway, Bill, speaking of the Patriots, I wanted to make it a smoother transition. Let's talk about the Patriots, Bill. Because that game was much better, and the Jaguars choked on a 14-3 lead. I've got something for Bortles facts.
And a 20-10 lead in the fourth quarter.
Yep. I have a fact for Blake Bortles facts. So, Blake Bortles is now 0-1 in the playoffs all-time series against Tom Brady. Blake Bortles is the only quarterback to play against Tom Brady and blow a 14-3 lead and a 20-10 lead.
Right. Oh,
So, yeah. Bill, to me, what did I say? What did we say last week, Bill? I know I keep going back to this point, but you tried talking shit to the Patriots. They were unfazed. They did not care. And ultimately, it came back to bite you in the ass because they don't fall for your bluffs. Trust me, Bill. Seeing especially the last moments, like when they were just trying to kneel it down, the Jaguars players were about as angry and feisty as the Seahawks players when they lost the Super Bowl a couple of years back. They were trying to instigate a fight, push more than they should, even though the whistle was blown. The refs had to kind of stop them for a little bit before they had to do it again. Jaguars Twitter, Jaguars fans were all talking shit. Did not work. Players try to talk shit, but the players have the other job, not just to talk the talk. You need to walk the walk. But they couldn't finish, and I know people want to say the refs had something to do with it. I get where they're coming from to an extent, but at the same time, I have to look back at all the other weeks that the Jaguars have played, and as the year went on, they kept getting flagged more and more. Like, if you want my best example would be that's 49ers game. You take away 2 or 3 of those important flags against the Jaguars defense, they might have won that game.
Right.
Jimmy G might not have a lot more hype because he would have lost to the best defense in the AFC.
Right.
And
I mean,
we wouldn't be singing. We would sing a slightly different tune.
Right. I mean, overall, I thought it was a decently officiated game.
Yeah.
Obviously, overall, the game itself was called pretty lax comparative. I mean, if you really look at it, both teams didn't have a penalty until the second quarter, and both teams didn't have a penalty until like the late third quarter. New England only had 1 penalty, but that's the sign of as you go on in the playoffs, the teams that are well coached don't commit penalties. And the Jaguars, AJ Bouye is well known to continuously hand fight down the field, and he got caught. And when you get caught, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, so, my point is that the Jags have been flagged more down the stretch, and I've said it before, especially when Bouye was on the Texans. He has a very, very bad tendency to hold on to players all the time. When every time they lost, like my best example was when they played the Chargers last year. I think he got 3 defensive holding calls against him alone. because he just cannot let go of a player. He held on to Antonio Brown to save his life, and he still got torched by him. This happened again last week or yesterday when he got torched. I think it was Danny Amendola who Danny Amendola carried in the fourth quarter. If there was an MVP award to give out, like if that was the Super Bowl, he would be a clear MVP in my opinion. I know they want to give it to Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady, but come on. Danny Amendola earned it, especially the people who were like, "Oh, they lost Gronkowski. It's over for them." No, Danny Amendola had to say otherwise.
Right. I mean, and that was another play that a lot of people were like, I don't know. He still helmet to helmet collided with Gronkowski, and I know that Gronkowski's a big target, and he really is a big target. But if you're hitting Gronkowski in the head, and that means you're either standing up and not in proper tackling position, or and to me that was not proper tackling position, and it was a correct call. That was just
You
my
hit
brutal, honest.
you hit a defenseless player.
Exactly.
That
I
was
mean,
bad. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a fine too, but let's just say that those penalties did cost the Jags the game. Because they all led to scores. All those big penalties, they all led to some type of points.
right.
And
I mean,
quite frankly, Bill, I'm just thinking I'm just thinking how incredible it is to like they had that play where Dion Lewis fumbled the ball and I'm like, "Oh no. That might be the play of the game." Like
yep.
right there. That play of the game that might have cost the Patriots a trip. It might have. But
Very
somehow
possible.
Dion Lewis redeems himself by just at the end of the game getting that incredible first down from 3rd and 9. I think he ran 20, 30 yards, which I don't know how. Belichick trusted Dion Lewis to still go for it, and I was impressed. Because Dion Lewis was
Right.
great. He never fumbled the ball until that game. I thought, oh, that might be the end of him. They might just shut him down and give it to James White. But Bill, you got to respect that carousel of running backs because if one running back doesn't do it, they just put in another. Or if that doesn't work, they
Right.
put in another, and that usually works.
Yeah.
Every week, there's a chance you could have another running back have a big game.
Yep. Exactly.
But Bill,
I mean,
I also will say the cornerbacks for the Patriots adjusted well. If you want a good example of the difference between the coaching levels between Doug Marrone and Doug Peterson for the Eagles, let's take a look. They both were in similar situations at the end of the second quarter. Both teams had the ball with I think a timeout or two left. With 40
yep.
seconds, the Jaguars elect to kneel and just go into the locker room. The Eagles, on the other hand, choose to go for it and take 3 more points to help secure a win. I know that
Right.
game eventually led to a blowout, but that shows to me that Doug Peterson has way more balls as a coach and more confidence in his team than Doug Marrone does. Because
Well,
even though
and
they're
here
already in the lead, they don't really need the lead. They don't really need to add points, but it's like, let's go for more points if we can.
you always try to step on the Patriots' throat. If you have the Patriots down and you have 40 seconds left, you try to drive the football down the field and score more points.
You doubted,
I'm
you
stuck.
doubted Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and it cost you your playoff run.
Right. I mean, and that was probably the biggest blunder of the game, because not only are you giving the team that's best at adjusting at halftime a chance to adjust the defense at halftime, you're giving the Patriots a chance to sort of reformulate what they're going to do on offense. I mean, sure, you received the kickoff, but if you even get 3 points before the end of the half and you get 3 more, that's 6 points right there. That's a whole different complexion of the game. The Patriots probably wouldn't be able to come back on that good of a defense. that's a damn good defense to come back against. And I just feel like you go for it. You go for it in at the end of the half, and if you don't believe in your quarterback, Blake Bortles there, then how the hell are you going to believe in him in the Super Bowl?
Yep. And of course, again, the other thing, I know people say Blake Bortles had the game of his life because he didn't make a mistake, but here's the problem. I know people say that they also still want to go with that argument that the refs bailed the Patriots out, but what about the Jaguars? What were they doing with the last 3 or 4 drives? They had, I think, two, maybe three and outs. 2 of them deep in their own end zone. They
Yep.
were not moving the ball that often in the fourth quarter. They were shut down, even in that in their final drive. When they were finally making progress, they just couldn't make the throws that counted. I don't know how, but the Patriots were all over the ball. They were all over Blake Bortles, making him run for his life. There was a play where I thought he could have ran the ball for a first down, and he just tried to throw it. And obviously it didn't work. I thought he was
Right.
going to run for it. It's like, oh great, they're going to have a chance. No, but
Yeah, and that's another thing that I thought the Jaguars got away from that really could have served them well. Because that's another thing that the Patriots struggle against is the mobile quarterback.
they surprisingly didn't make Bortles do that, even though that's what he was doing in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
My
run the
guess is that
football
they
and
had a
go.
spy keep an eye on him, and that's why he didn't run for it. But
Right. I mean, it could have been, but I mean, they were doing a lot of play action constantly. Why don't you play action quarterback bootleg it? Or, there's a lot that you can do. And I feel like that was another strength of Blake Bortles' game that they took away from him and they forced him into being a pocket quarterback
yep.
when he's not
Oh,
very
and
good
Bill,
at
we
it.
got a bit of breaking news. Yeah, you're right. You
Oh,
called it. The Colts are now asking for a second interview with Josh McDaniels.
not surprising, and obviously the Lions will follow suit with Matt Patricia, and really second interview, quote unquote. It's not really an interview. What they're gonna do is probably talk about assistants to hire, etc., etc. They'll be like, oh well, they're done work on contract stuff, but they can't sign contract stuff. So again, the Lions are going to do the exact same thing.
Yep. Anyway, Bill. So the other thing I was going to mention was, um, I don't know how Tom Brady makes it look easy. He made a few uh very few throws where he had to get him dead center, little room for error, and he still gets it anyway. Especially in that 3rd and 18. I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah.
Bill, I I'm half the reason I feel more confident in the Patriots is because look, they beat arguably the best defense. I know both teams did it. Both teams beat the best defenses in that division. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's debatable on which one is better. I'm of the belief the Vikings were better, while others were inclined to believe the Jaguars are better. But either way, I
I'm
still feel like it's very impressive to just, especially at the end, to just turn a slice and dice that entire secondary full of good players like Jalen
I
Ramsey
mean
and Barry Church.
I
And that's
mean
because they took Gronk out of the game, but they still played very well.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a master class in quarterbacking by Brady against that defense. I feel like Jacksonville's coaches let them down. That was a game that was winnable by Jacksonville, and they choked it away. They choked it away at the end of the second and the beginning of the third. And once that happened, the Patricia put the clamps down and it was game over.
Yep, so my closing points on the whole people thinking that the Patriots got lucky and won their way. Let's just point that out, that Blake Bortles got shut down in the fourth quarter. He got shut down when it mattered most, getting multiple 3-and-outs, and even when they did, they just couldn't finish the drives and get a touchdown when they needed to. And
Yep.
there is that the what I call conservative coaching practices is when they thought they had the lead, when they put their foot off the gas, which yeah, did you not pay attention in history class, Doug Marone? Because you only need to look to last year. You can watch the whole Super Bowl on a video. You have the access to that. It's not like this is some old footage that we're digging out of a fucking closet somewhere in Canton. No, it's right there on the internet. It's at the touch of your fingertips. Go look at the last Super Bowl, and you'll see what happened to the other team that put their foot off the gas in the biggest choke job in NFL history, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, never, ever let them in the game.
Don't let the Patriots back. If you guys really hate the Patriots that badly, why are you lightening up on them?
Yep. Just, when you got the chance, you put your foot on their throat and just squeeze. And they did not, and they lost because of it.
Anyway, I was gonna say. So anyway, I think that's all we can. That's really worth noting in this week. But I will say, Bill, it's gonna be. It's this Super Bowl. I don't know if it'll top 51 or especially 49, but I'm hoping it's at least a little entertaining. But Bill, I gotta feel bad for NFC East fans that aren't Eagles fans because now they have reached an ultimatum. Either you root for the very team of your division that you have scorned and have enjoyed making jokes out of in the Eagles. You know, that one guy who thinks he's so full of shit, like he's top dog and shit, but really, he's the biggest joke because unlike you guys, all three of you have rings. Oh, he doesn't have a single one to his name. Or you go for the arch nemesis in the Patriots. I've seen Giants fans, Bill, saying "Go Patriots." I never thought I'd see the day.
Oh, man.
So basically, Bill, you either vote for the evil Empire and the Death Star, which is Tom Brady, or you go for this. I would say they're the rebellion, but but that would be a compliment. You go for the most asshole fandom in the East Coast right now in the Philadelphia Eagles, who boo Santa
right now,
and all that. What, Bill?
I was gonna say I'm not. New York Giants fans are like, oh, well, Matt Patricia's get one last Super Bowl before he never wins again. Yeah. You're just mad that he didn't come to New York and,
Oh, they're getting Pat Shurmur.
Waste his time with a 37-year-old quarterback. Oh, no, I've seen Giants fans mocking the Detroit Lions hire, and it's been served. It's like, oh yeah, let's recall who's been beating the Giants consistently the last few years. Oh, that's right, the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
But
all right, Bill.
I agree. It's going to be NFC East's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's quite the ultimatum. It's not a choice. You know. It's just you're picking between your two biggest enemies, and it's very tough. I know that they're all very torn, but I want to believe the NFC will rally behind the Patriots because why do you want the Eagles to get another ring? Isn't it fun making fun of them for having nothing?
Right.
And plus, after seeing how the Eagles have been acting from throwing beer bottles and cans at the Vikings bus to, as I've said in the past, boost throw stuff at Santa, and you have Eat That Pussy 445 on your side, and of course the best moment is talk shit about Tom Brady and his wife. Yeah, have fun. Also, don't be jealous because he's sleeping with the most powerful model in the world right now, and you're not. Don't be jealous. Anyway, Bill, I think that'll do for the podcast, because next week, Bill, we have a lot of things. We have Super Bowl discussions. We have to get more and more better detail a little bit. And we got the awards.
Award time!
Yeah,
oh,
Bill,
man!
I mean, there's already the Walter Payton Man of the Year between Benjamin Watson. J.J. Watt, and who's the third guy again, Bill? I'm forgetting who it is.
Greg Olson.
Greg Olson. Yeah, Bill, you know who I want. It's clear as day. J.J. Watt could earn that award 2 times in a row, and it still feel justified. Anyone else, or if he's got to split the award, and I will actually be very disappointed. Which is no offense to the other two. I just feel J.J. has more than earned that.
Right.
In fact, give him a Medal of Honor while you're at it. Just not while Trump's here in office. No.
Right. I'll put it this way: with the Walter Payton Man of the Year, doing things in the community and getting an award for it is nice, but doing things in the community is rewarding in itself.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
Bill, that'll do it for this week. Next week we got all that stuff to come into. The Super Bowl's coming, and Bill, we are near the end of our season.
oh my God, it's almost there.
The end of football
Oh
talks,
God.
Bill, is nigh.
Oh Lordy.
But
Oh,
anyway, that'll do it, and we'll see you guys before, just in time for the Super Bowl.